Today, I'll be doing my official 2022 NASCAR Cup Series playoff predictions. Let's go and just jump straight into it. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to another video. Today, I will tell you the 16 drivers that I think will make the NASCAR Cup Series Plus, and then I will tell you ones that will not make the NASCAR Cup Series Plus, but I think that will contend for the NASCAR Cup Series Plus. One thing to note is that I do believe that this will be the first season that we'll have 16 different winners get into the playoffs, and I also think we're going to have a lot of winners in the 2022 season, and the determination is going to be on points in 2022. So let's jump into the playoff predictions. The first driver that I believe is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series Plus in 2022, no doubt is going to be defending NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Larson. I think Kyle Larson is going to back up his performance in 2022 from 2021. I think he's going to have the best car once again in 2022. I think he's going to have a lot of speed. I think he's going to have a lot of pace. I think that 5 team is just only going to get stronger in their second year. Historically, Hendrick Motorsports, for every driver who's driven for their team in their second years as an organization, they tend to get better, and I think Kyle Larson is only going to get better next year. So I think that Kyle Larson is going to be the first driver that will officially lock his way into the NASCAR Cup Series Plus in the 2022 season. The second driver that I believe is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series Plus in 2022, I believe, is going to be Kyle Larson's teammate, the driver of the 9, Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's going to be really, really strong in the road courses next year once again. I do know the next-gen car is going to be different, and we don't know if he's going to be really good on the road courses or not. But I think Chase Elliott is going to be good on the road courses. I think that's really where he's going to win next year. I think he's going to have a lot of speed. I believe that he'll be the second official driver to lock his way into the playoffs. I think also he'll have a lot of speed next year. I think Hendrick's going to be one of the teams to be throughout the year. So I think that Chase Elliott will be the second driver to lock his way into the playoffs in 2022. The third driver that I believe is going to make it to the NASCAR Cup Series Plus, I believe, is going to be Denny Hamlin. I think that Denny Hamlin is going to get a couple wins in 2022. I think he gets minimum 2 wins in the 2022 season, and I think that Denny Hamlin is going to have a lot of speed. Joe Gibbs Racing also has tended to be very, very good when it comes to a new car. So I think that Denny Hamlin is going to have a lot of speed. I think that Denny Hamlin is going to have a lot of pace, and I think that he will be the third driver that locks his way into the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series Plus. I think he makes the Cup Series playoffs. The fourth driver that I believe is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series Plus is the driver of the number 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing, the Bass Pro Shops Toyota, Martin Truex Jr. I think Martin Truex Jr. is going to win early in the season at Auto Club Speedway, and I think he'll get a win later in the playoffs. But I think Martin Truex Jr. is going to get in off of a win. I think he's also going to have a lot of speed. I think he's going to have a little bit of a down year in regards to performance than 2021. I don't think he's going to be like absolutely horrendous, but as he is getting older, there's been a graph that shows about his age that he's going to be, which he'll be 42 by the end of 2022. Down that age is when drivers tend to fall in their NASCAR Cup Series careers. So I think that Martin Truex Jr. is going to make the playoffs next year, but I only think he gets 1 win in the regular season, but I think he will get into the playoffs in 2022. The fifth driver that I believe is going to be making the NASCAR Cup Series Plus in the 2022 season is the driver of the number 12 14 Penske, Ryan Blaney. I think Ryan Blaney is going to get a win pretty early in the season. As a matter of fact, I think he's going to win Daytona 500, and then I think he's going to win Atlanta Motor Speedway. So I think that Ryan Blaney is going to get 2 wins in the regular season. I think he's going to get less wins in the 2022 season, but I think that Ryan Blaney is going to win next year and get his way into the playoffs. I also think he's going to be more consistent, and I think he's going to have a chance to be an underdog for the championship next year. But I think that Ryan Blaney will be the 5th driver to lock his way into the NASCAR Cup Series Plus in 2022. The 6th driver that I believe is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series Plus is the driver of the 4 car for Stewart-Haas Racing, Kevin Harvick. I think Kevin Harvick not only is going to get better as a driver in the Cup Series in 2022, I think that the veterans are going to do really, really well with the next-gen car. But I believe that Kevin Harvick is going to get back to victory lane in the 2022 season. I think he's going to get a couple wins, and I think he's going to improve from 2021. I think SHR is going to have a little bit of a comeback in 2022. And I think Kevin Harvick will get a couple wins in 2022 and lock his way into the playoffs with some wins. The 7th driver that I believe is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series Plus in 2022 is going to be the driver of the 18 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, Kyle Busch. I think Kyle Busch is going to be someone who has not adamantly been the biggest fan of the next-gen car, right? Well, I think that Kyle Busch is not going to really struggle with the next-gen car right away. I think it's going to, again, I think it's going to take him a little bit of time to win, and I think it's going to take him quite a bit of time to get that first win of the 2022 season. I think his first win is going to come in a cold close 600 in 2022. But I think the Kyle Busch is going to be extremely consistent. I think the Joe Gibbs cars, like I mentioned already, are going to be very, very fast. I think he's the 7th driver that makes the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in the 2022 season. I think he gets it done, and I think he will cross the finish line and gets a couple victories here in 2022. I also think that he'll get a win in the playoffs in 2022, but I think he makes the playoffs in that 18 car in 2022, and I think Ben Bowyer will come back to the team. So I think Kyle Busch will be the 7th driver to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. The 8th driver that I think is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series Plus in 2022 is going to be the driver of the 24 for Hendrick Motorsports, William Byron. I think William Byron is only going to get better than he did this past year. William Byron was extremely consistent. He only got one win in 2021. But I think that William Byron in 2022, he is going to do better than he has done in the past. I think he's actually going to get multiple wins in the 2022 season. I think that 24 car is going to show a lot of speed. And I think only Rudy Fiegel and William Byron are only going to get better now than they have already gotten. So I think that William Byron is going to get multiple wins in the season. I think he picks up the win at Sonoma. And I think he's going to pick up the win at Martinsville earlier in the season. So I think he gets multiple wins in 2022. And I think that William Byron will be the 8th driver to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in the 2022 season. The 9th driver that I believe is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs is the driver of the 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports, Alex Bowman. I think Alex Bowman is going to win less races in 2022. I think, as a matter of fact, he's only going to pick up one victory in the 2022 season. However, I think that Alex Bowman is going to be a lot more consistent as a Cup Series driver. I think he's going to show up on the track a lot more with a lot more pace. I think he's going to be more consistent. I think he's going to be going back to be more of a consistent driver because in 2020, while he only got one win, Alex Bowman was extremely consistent throughout the entire season. So I think that Alex Bowman is going to get only one win in 2022. I think that comes at Ally. Of course, Ally does sponsor the national race, the Ally 400. I think Alex Bowman gets it done, and I think he picks up only one win in 2022. But I think he's going to be extremely consistent in the 2022 season. The 10th driver that I believe is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022 is going to be the driver of the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, William Byron. I think William Byron will make, Christopher Bell. I think Christopher Bell is going to make the playoffs once again in the 2022 season. Christopher Bell, I think, will get a win in 2022 at New Hampshire National Speedway. I also think he's going to be a little bit more consistent in the 2022 season, and I think he'll show a lot of pace in that number 20 car. So I think that Christopher Bell will get it done. I think he's going to have a lot of speed. Again, I think that win's going to come in New Hampshire. He was extremely close to winning that race in 2021, and I think he will get redemption by winning this race in 2022. I think he gets it done. I think Chris Bell picks up his only win of 2022 at the track called New Hampshire. The 11th driver that I believe will make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in the 2022 season is going to be the driver of the 22 for Joe Gibbs for Team Penske, Joey Logano. I think Joey Logano is going to make the playoffs once again on consistency, but I think he's only going to get one win in 2022 once again, just like he did in 2021 at Bristol Dirt. But I think he's going to be more consistent, and I think that win is going to come at Michigan International Speedway. I think Joey Logano is going to have a lot of speed throughout the entire season. I think he's going to show a lot of pace, and I think he'll for sure make the playoffs. I know he's a little bit lower on the list, but that's because I don't feel as confident about Joey Logano as the other 10 drivers that I have above him. So I think that Joey Logano for sure is going to make the playoffs, but I think he's a lower tier driver on this list that will make the playoffs in 2022. The 12th driver that I believe is going to make the playoffs in 2022, I believe, is a driver for the 45 for 2311 Racing, Kurt Busch. I believe that Kurt Busch will get one win in the 2022 season, and I think that is going to come at Richmond International Raceway, considering that is a track historically Kurt Busch has been pretty good at throughout his entire career. And Kurt Busch seems to win on many different types of configuration of tracks. I know the last 3 of his wins have come on mile and a half, but I think this time around he's going to win on a shorter oval, a 70.75 mile short track. I think Kurt Busch will get the win. I know it's a little bold to say that Kurt Busch is a little higher in the list than some of the guys below him, but I think that Kurt Busch will get in the playoffs in 2022. I think he's going to have to rely on getting a win to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, but I think that Kurt Busch will make the playoffs in the 2022 season. The 13th driver that I believe is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in the 2022 season is a driver of the 8 car for Rich Choice Racing, Tyler Reddick. I think that Tyler Reddick is going to make the playoffs in 2022 with the win early in the year and Darlington in the throwback race. I think Tyler Reddick is going to be very, very fast and very, very consistent. You look at Tyler Reddick in 2021. Tyler Reddick, especially in the second half of the year, really started coming into his own, and he almost was able to win races early in the season. I remember back at Kansas where he had a chance to win. I remember back at Vegas where he had a chance to win. And also at the Charlotte Roll where he had the chance to win as well. In Texas as well where he had a lot of pace. So I think at Tyler Reddick, it's only a matter of time before he does get a win. I think he gets a win, and I think he'll be the 13th driver to make the playoffs in 2022. The 14th driver that I believe is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022 is going to be driver of the 6th car for Roush Fenway Racing, Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski is moving over from Team Penske over to Roush Fenway Racing to be a co-owner / driver of the organization. I don't think Brad Keselowski right away is going to set the gauge strong. However, I think what Brad Keselowski is going to end up doing in 2022 is I think he's going to win the Spring Talladega race to get into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. I think that Brad Keselowski is a really, really awesome super speed racer. As a matter of fact, he is one of the best drivers that has raced ever at Talladega Super Speedway in his entire career. So I think that Brad Keselowski is going to get the victory at Talladega Super Speedway to get in the playoffs. But I do think in the second half of the year, I think that he'll do better in the 6th, and I think by the end of the year, he'll be in the top 15 or top 16 of points. But I think he'll make the playoffs in the 2022 season. The 15th driver that I believe is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs is a driver that will moving into the 2-car next year in 2022, Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric, I think, is going to be one of the one of the best rookies we have ever seen. I think he will be the best rookie we've seen since I think in 2016 we had Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott show up on the scene where Chase Elliott was extremely consistent. Because I think that Austin Cindric, who's he had a few years in the Xfinity Series, and I think that experience in the Xfinity Series is really going to play into a role. I think Austin Cindric is a generational talent, and he's really shown his stuff so far in select starts in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2021. So I think that Austin Cindric is going to have a lot of speed, and I think he'll get a win at Road America to get his way in. I think winning is going to matter a lot more, and I believe that Austin Cindric will be the 15th driver to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in the 2022 season. And this is where things get interesting. I think that there are potentially a lot of drivers that can make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in the 2022 season. I'm telling you, there's potentially up to 30 guys that could make the playoffs. But who do I think is going to take the final spot to get into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in the 2022 season? I think that the final driver that is going to get into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022 is a driver of the 23 for 2311 Racing, Bubba Wallace. Yes, heard that right. I think that Bubba Wallace is going to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022. Bubba Wallace actually did pick up a win at Talladega in 2021, and I think that win is going to come in a clutch victory at Daytona International Speedway. I think he's going to be really consistent throughout the year. I think he's going to get some top 10s and some top 15s, and I think he's going to have his best Cup Series season of his career, and I think also he's going to show up and have some top 5s throughout the season. So I think Bubba Wallace is going to get the final spot in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in the 2022 season. I think he will be the final driver that will be in your 2022 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. I think he gets it done, and I think he makes the playoffs in the 2022 season. Now I'm going to tell you which drivers that I believe are not going to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022. And I think there's a lot of drivers that are just going to miss the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022. So let's jump straight into those. The first driver that I think is going to miss the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022, I think is going to be Chase Briscoe. Now, I think that Chase Briscoe actually is going to win in the regular season, but I think that Chase Briscoe is just going to miss out on points alone. I think we're going to have more winners than spots that are going to be available for the playoffs, and I think that Chase Briscoe will be the worst driver on there that will perform throughout the season. I think he's going to win at the Indianapolis Road Course, but I think he missed for the first driver that will miss the playoffs in 2022. The second driver that I think is going to miss the playoffs in 2022 is going to be driver of the 10 car for Stewart-Haas Racing, Aric Almirola. I think Aric Almirola is going to be pretty consistent throughout the year, but I don't think he's going to do enough. I think he will be better than he was in 2021, but I think unfortunately with how competitive the field is going to be next year, I think he misses. Now, I do think that Aric Almirola is going to be the last guy who is going to win a race in 2022. But I don't think Aric Almirola gets it done. I think he's the second driver that will miss the playoffs in the 2022 season. The third driver that I think is going to miss the playoffs in 2022, I believe is going to be Ross Chastain, who will be moving over to Trackhouse Racing. I think Ross Chastain is going to do better than he has done in the past with Chip Ganassi Racing, but I don't think he's going to do enough. I think he'll be the next driver that misses. Again, I think he's going to have pace and speed, but I think he will miss the playoffs in 2022. The fourth driver that I think is going to miss the playoffs is Ross Chastain's teammate, Daniel Suarez, who drives the number 99 for Trackhouse Racing. I think Daniel Suarez actually will do a little better than he did this past year. Daniel Suarez actually finished 25th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings. I think he'll be around a 20th place driver most of the year. I think he just barely misses the playoffs next year, and I think he will fail to win and will not get a victory in 2022. The next driver I think is not going to make the playoffs is going to be the driver of the 3 for Rich Choice Racing, Austin Dillon. I think Austin Dillon is going to be consistent, do not get me wrong. I think he's going to be almost more consistent than he was in the 2021 season. But I think Austin Dillon, unfortunately, is not going to do enough to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. I think he fails to make it. I think Austin Dillon fails to make the playoffs in 2022. The next driver that I think is going to, unfortunately, not make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022 is the driver who is the teammate of Brad Keselowski next year, the driver of the 17 for Roush Fenway Racing, Chris Buescher. I think Chris Buescher has shown potential to win. Has shown potential to make the playoffs. But like I said, how competitive the NASCAR Cup Series field is going to be next year, I think, unfortunately, Chris Buescher doing good is not going to be enough. I think winning is going to matter. And I just don't think that he's going to be able to win next year, which is the reason I think he'll fail to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022. So I think that Chris Buescher fails to make the playoffs in the 2022 season. The next driver I think will just miss the playoffs in 2022, I believe, is going to be Harrison Burton. I do think the Wood Brothers is going to form a little bit worse than he did when Matt DiBenedetto was in the car. Now, they do have a good crew chief that's coming in the team, and that, of course, is Brian Wilson. But I think that Harrison Burton is going to be a driver. It's going to take time for him to get used to the car. Now, we have not seen the next-gen car race, so he may surprise a lot of people and may get a surprising upset victory later in the season. But I think that Harrison Burton will fail to win, and that will probably, unfortunately, take him out of contention. I don't think Harrison Burton will make the playoffs in the 2022 season. The next driver I think that will not make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022, I believe, is going to be Justin Haley, who will be driving a 16 for Kaulig Racing. I think Justin Haley is actually going to do pretty decent in the 2022 season and do better than I think people are going to give him grips for. And I think he'll be very strong on super speedways, but I think that really is going to be his only shot to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in the 2022 season. So I think he fails to make it. I do not think that Justin Haley makes the playoffs in 2022. The next driver I think will not make the playoffs in 2022 is going to be the driver of the 41 for Stewart-Haas Racing, Cole Custer. Cole Custer, I think, will improve from the last 2 years. I know he got a win in 2020, but other than that win in Kentucky, he has absolutely struggled throughout his career, and I don't think he does much better than he's done. So I think Cole Custer does not improve much. I think Cole Custer will be around a 20th place driver next year, and I think he misses the playoffs in the 2022 season. The next driver I think that's going to fail to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs is going to be driver of the 43 for Richard Petty Motorsports, Eric Jones. I think Eric Jones does a little bit better next year. Not much, but I think he does a little bit better. I think that talent is going to matter a lot more with the next-gen car, so I think that talent's going to come into play. I think Eric Jones just barely missed the playoffs in 2022. The next driver that I think will miss the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs is going to be the driver of the 34 for Front Row Motorsports, Michael McDowell. I think Michael McDowell has gotten better as a driver in the NASCAR Cup Series, and I think he'll do very well on road courses next year, considering I think the next-gen car and people who are good on road courses is going to matter a lot more. But I just don't think Front Row is going to have enough to go out there and win races. I could definitely see some top 10s for the team next year, but I think that Michael McDowell fails to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022. I think he fails to get it done and will not make the playoffs in 2022, in my honest opinion. The next driver I think that's going to fail to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022 is the driver of the 47 for JT Doherty Racing, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I do not think Stenhouse is making the playoffs in 2022. I think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. could be very surprisingly good with an action car. We really don't know. But I don't think Stenhouse is going to make it. I don't think he's going to have enough speed. I don't think he's going to have enough pace. I think he fails to make the playoffs in the 2022 season. The next driver I think that fails to make the playoffs in 2022, and these are the last two, by the way, and these are the least likely to make it, is Ty Dillon in the 94 for GMS Racing. The only way I think Ty Dillon makes the playoffs in 2022 is a super speedway win. I think at GMS Racing, it's going to take them some time to get used to getting used to the cars, And I think that experience will come into play. And Ty Dillon has not really been in the Cup Series that much over the last couple of years. So I don't think GMS is going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to form similar standard to a team like Go Fast Racing or a team like JTG Doherty Racing, which is not bad for a first-year team. But I think they failed to make the playoffs in 2022. And the final driver I think that will not make the playoffs in 2022 is going to be Corey LaJoie. I don't think Corey LaJoie is going to have as many mechanical problems and mechanical gremlins as he has had in the past, but I unfortunately believe that Corey LaJoie, only big chance to win is Super Speedways. I don't think he's going to get it done. I think he, though, is the last driver that will have an opportunity to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in the 2022 season. So, anyway, those are my official 2022 NASCAR Cup Series playoff predictions, telling you who I think will make the Cup Series playoffs in 2022. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications so you're notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links are below for that, and comment your thoughts on today's video. What are your 2022 NASCAR playoff predictions? Let me know which 16 drivers you think will make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in the comments below. I've still got a ton of major products that will be coming out during the off-season. Some team previews. You've got some other big content that's dropping, including another major video that will drop here in the next couple of days. You should be seeing probably on Monday, but you'll have to wait for that. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time with some more great and awesome NASCAR content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.